Hey guys, this is Denise. Yep.
Perry Hill Farms.
We are here this morning. It's a Monday morning, and we have chores to do here on the hill. Some things that need to get done, but we had a little something we wanted to talk to you about. That every homesteading family experiences, and just kind of wanted to take you along with us today and talk about, homesteading heartaches, basically.
I mean, over the last several weeks, we've had some things happen on the farm we hadn't shared yet, but we wanted just to walk through how does a farm deal with loss in so many different ways.
Your garden, your animals, your money. There's a lot of areas on a farm that suffer loss when you step out and start doing things, and so we just wanted to kind of walk you through what we've done. Our farming experience. Well, it didn't start. It started without Dad.
Yeah, that was the first loss.
November of 2017. So we were on our own, and the one that really knew it all was gone. And so almost immediately we suffered a loss, and it was a cold winter.
Yeah, Dad had just passed away, and we were probably a week within that week.
I don't know. I don't know how soon Mom had sold the tractor.
So maybe 2 weeks after Dad had died, we had given us the cattle,
all the
cows for us to have that business, and we were happy about that. Wanting to do our best. Of course, we were ignorant when we stepped into this new line of work. We didn't know anything about cows at all. We'd been around Dad, but we just didn't ask a lot of questions. And hindsight is, we should have picked his brain even more. But
absolutely.
2 weeks after Dad passed away, we lost a cow.
We woke up one morning.
And
Mom said, "There's a cow laying down in the pasture," and we were like, It was freezing cold. And we got up there, and sure enough, she was laying down, but she was stone cold.
Yeah, she had died during the night. And that was our first initial loss when we started. Our first heartache. At that point, we were like, do we really want to continue this? Do we really want to go on this journey? That was devastating. I was just like, how do I let an animal die like that?
And can we do this? There were a lot of questions that was asked.
Yeah, we didn't have the tractor at the time to properly dispose of her. It was really a tough time, but it made us dig deep, do a lot of research. Eric got on the internet, started doing research. We started reading and just talking to people and learning what we needed to do. And at that time, not long after that, we sold most of what the cows off that Dad had given us, and because we wanted to start off with maybe raising a herd of Red Angus beef. Now, we only have, in actuality, about 17 to 20 acres of pasture land.
Probably, yeah.
Roughly.
Because our pond is about 7 acres.
Yeah.
So, total probably about 20 acres of pasture land.
We had to do some research on how many cows can we have on that land efficiently. And we realized quickly that the 19 head that Dad had might be a little much for this.
So in that started research, and we've done videos on this. In order to be a good cow farmer, you've got to be a good grass farmer.
That's right.
And so how did we recover from that loss? Well, what we did was we dug in, and we watched our homesteading videos, and just researched,
learned from others,
learning from other homesteading families on what to do. What does it take to have a good grass pasture, a healthy pasture? And we did some soil samples of our pasture land, and we realized what nutrients were lacking. And so I think that year we spread the nutrients that we needed, some lime. We limed all of the pastures to help them out.
Yeah, Eric did research on that, on what they needed, and we
downsized the herd.
The herd, and we figured out what commodity food can we feed them to help them through the winter. We learned that they had to have a protein lick during the winter. hay was good during the winter time as a filler. And so we went down to our local co-op and started buying commodity feed for our cows. And I'll tell you, it was night and day from that first winter to the second winter. They were so healthy.
The second
winter, and we thought, yeah, we actually can do this.
Right.
We actually can do this. And so that was our first loss.
And we didn't let it stop us. We didn't
No.
grow. I mean, were we sad? Yes, but it didn't discourage us
No.
from attempting. There, I have to say, and I hope we can find this little post that her husband posted, and it will fit you and I perfectly. And it's the picture of the little redheaded girl on the lamb bucking.
On the lamb bucking, and so these two girls will
I
try
hope that we can
anything.
share that up here, the little pictures, and that really depicts our determination.
We're willing to try anything.
And the
do
guys,
anything.
but I bet probably Denise and I, we're not afraid of anything.
Yeah, that might be a stupid thing. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
that's right.
We did
So-
try to cut down a tree once that almost fell on the house, and I learned real quickly we're not cutting trees down anymore.
We could use the chainsaw, just use it away from buildings.
Stupid stuff.
That's okay, but we survived that. We learned from that as well. But anyway, so we got to go out and milk the goats,
And we're just going to let you follow along with us.
and we're going to talk
We're
about
gonna talk about different things.
that areas that we've lost, and some of it we've shared with you already throughout the golly, Denise, is it going on 2 years that we've had our channel?
Yeah. 2 years.
We started in 2020, didn't we?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so it's 2 years that we've been on this journey.
May, I think, will be 2 years.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
So
Follow us out to the goat barn
we'll
as
go-
we milk Coco and Crazy Karen this morning.
this will be my first opportunity being with you.
Oh, really?
I've never been able to help you
We're gonna
milk.
let you do it.
Oh, great. Y'all
It's so
come along
easy.
with us.
Come on with us.
It would help if I turn on.
Boss Man's with us today. Come on, Boss Man. Look out for the tire.
Yeah. We'll talk about that in a little while.
Yeah, I'll tell you about that in a little bit.
Oh. Huh? All right, buddy. Move right away.
Here we go. They're screaming for us.
They're ready.
They're ready. Up. Let me get around there. There we go. Beautiful morning. Things are starting to bloom and leaf out, and things are growing. Yeah. And I wish I could be home.
Me too.
It's coming. At some point. It's coming. I'm working my way.
Hello, babies. I know it. I know it. Everybody's ready.
Yeah. There they go. They're standing back there waiting on us.
Everybody's ready.
Everybody's ready. Here we go. So as we're out today talking about loss on the farm and casualties and things, we're out here getting ready to milk the goats, and we wanted to talk a little bit of our loss for when we started this endeavor back in May, we had 4 bottle-fed babies that we'd gotten, and there's a video, of course, of us getting those, and a video of one of our losses. We had one of our babies just die pretty much all of a sudden, and it crushed us because we were like,
Not Penelope. Is that what
Penelope,
you're-
yeah.
That was the year before.
It was 2020.
That was the first year that because she came when Sassy and them came.
Yes,
She
yes.
would be Sassy and
She was
Penelope.
our first goat loss that we had, and that was devastating. I mean, Danette was crushed. We were up.
All
She was
night.
up all night trying to take care of that baby, and she didn't make it. And then, of course, you know, when you start kidding, having goats have babies, then you have a risk of losing babies there. Our first kidding, we didn't lose any. The first kidding that I did. The second kidding back in December, we had 14 babies. We lost 4 of them. Of course, then before that, we had one of the babies get hung up in the netting.
Well,
for the
and
hay.
we had thought the netting was good. We'd just hang it up there and
High enough where they couldn't.
high enough where they couldn't get in it. But this particular one wanted to get inside the
Netting. She'd been caught a couple times in there, and so what we did with that, of course, we switched over to our boxes on the fence, which has been a lifesaver, because then you don't have to go in with the hay and fight the goats, and then they still can get their hay without being
Right. I think you went pretty quickly. You researched that night.
That day I went.
And you said you would never lose another goat to that. That was devastating.
That was just, I was upset about that one. But we learned. So, you know, of course, you have to know that when you're kidding babies, especially with moms that are having multiple babies, there might be one of those multiples that doesn't thrive very well. Of course, this last kidding season, I felt more comfortable with what was going on.
We still didn't recognize some of the signs.
Some of the signs, but I learned from that, you know.
Right.
When they look weak, you know, go ahead and take them and let's bottle feed them and bring them in.
And they need that B12 pretty
Of course,
quickly.
during the time that they were delivering, it was right at the end when I was supposed to be quitting work. I had not quit work yet. It was around Christmas time. It was cold. It was rough.
It was wet.
It was wet. And so, you know, because of time, I didn't devote enough time to it, which is sad. But I'm home now. I'm out here every day watching them. I know their personalities now. I know what to look for. And, you know, we've had an issue with intestinal worms. And so I caught that quickly.
What did we do about that?
We quickly researched on what to do about that. And we've actually increased giving them herbs for natural dewormer, apple cider vinegar, things like that to help them. Just watch them.
Diatomaceous earth. We clean those stalls.
Yeah. We muck the stalls as much as we can.
Right.
To keep it clean for them so that they are. And of course, we're working on extending the pasture, so we'll give them some more pasture land to roam on.
That minimizes your chances of worms. When you can rotate them on the pastures, right.
Yeah.
That does.
So, I mean, tough. I mean, I really wanted to give up in December when we lost those 4 babies. I was devastated.
Right.
But we moved through it, and you learn from it, and you learn how to prevent that. So hopefully all of them have been bred again, and we'll have babies again in August, and hopefully we'll see how that goes in the heat of the year on how well
we'll
they
see
kid.
Which kidding season we like the best.
Which kidding season we like best. We may deal
Absolutely.
with flies a lot then, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. And
but key is we didn't give up.
we did not give up.
We didn't give up, and I'm sure we'll have more losses.
We will.
We'll have more losses, and we'll learn from those, and
right.
and move forward.
Yep. So we're gonna give them some feed real quick and get them milked, so they are happy when they get this.
So one thing about goats, I guess we didn't realize when we got them was they are a lot of work, because you got to make sure that they don't overeat. They get the right minerals, the right proteins.
They get their vaccinations.
Yeah, they got to have their
Copper boluses
every year, and we know all that because we experienced the heartache.
Yes.
And I guess that's the word we want to hone in on. It is heartache when you do lose something. We've always said that. We never like for something to die under our care, but it is important to know what you're getting into.
Right. Do your research.
And,
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'm learning a lot, you know, through trial and error, and just read. You can never be knowledgeable enough of taking care of a farm, ever. There's always stuff out there that you can read.
Right.
Every time I read, like how I feed my goats, all this time, I thought, I mean, they looked fine, they were doing fine, but learned they needed extra. And then of course the boys didn't need the sunflower seeds and different things like that. They can't do the beet pulp because it's got too much calcium in it for them, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just watching videos and doing research and reading a lot. Of course, there's a lot of
Become-
information out there that can
Become an
boggle your
educator,
brain,
right?
but you just have to decipher on what's something that's trustworthy for you and for your
And don't be
herd.
afraid.
Don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid. Don't let a heartache or a loss
Mhm.
discourage you.
That's right.
We got to get this goat milk inside because it's warmer today than it has been.
Right.
Get
We're
it
gonna go strain
strained.
that and get it in the refrigerator.
Next, we will meet you out by the chickens.
Yeah.
Hey guys, we're out at the chicken coop now, or well, the hoop coop. We actually have 2 chicken coops, and part of a homestead is raising your own chickens and having eggs. And we've always had chickens. We've had, well, I think we're on our 2nd chicken coop as the one you know that we have now. We had one previously up here in front of the rabbit barn. In fact, part of the rabbit barn was the
Original chicken coop.
the original chicken coop, and we converted it over into the rabbit barn. But and so through the years, you know, of course, there's your neighbor's dogs. That's part of living close to people who have pets. Out in the country, there's not a leash law, and so we lost some due to pesty dogs. Don't get me wrong, I love my dogs.
They were able to break into the chicken run, and they killed a ton. We come home one night and had
This was our first set of meat birds.
set of meat birds, and had a ton of dead chickens everywhere, and dogs had strung them from our yard across
to their
the way
yard. So
to
the evidence was in their yard. We knew exactly what had happened.
But we learned from that mistake that you just got to build a better chicken run and a chicken coop for them to stay in. So again, research was
and
done,
so
and videos were watched. And
there we have our new coop there.
There's a video of that, of Eric putting that together.
Right, you
on our page. You could follow of our hen house with our chicken run on it. And fortunately, with that particular one, we have not had any.
Oh, no.
Any.
Thank
of course,
you.
I mean, we've had loss where chickens would die probably because of being egg bound, is what it's called, or whatever.
Right.
You know, but no predators have been able to access that,
Which has been a blessing. They can get up under up under the chicken house and be protected. Plus, the wire is different than what we use.
Yeah, we have a hard wire around it also.
We use
but you know, another thing Eric said is we tried to proof it for snakes, and we were cleaning it this weekend, doing our quarterly cleaning of the chicken house, and he said, you know, we've really been blessed not to have.
Oh, he said it.
I know he did say it. Have snakes,
Yeah.
and I'm thinking, honey, don't say those words.
They've come to the rabbit barn. Yes.
Yeah,
Scared our pee-pee out of us.
yeah, most definitely. But we've been fortunate enough that we've got it fixed where we haven't had that issue yet. I'm sure it will come at some point now that he said it. But it's been a great coop so far. And then we come to where we built the hoop coop here.
And we showed y'all that previously with our it was on a previous video that we built, and we converted it into, well, we made one in the greenhouse, and then we did a hoop coop because we wanted to raise out some more meat birds. So the guys went and purchased about 50
meat birds.
Meat birds, white leggings is I think is what Eric calls them. And
you see them down here.
Yeah, you can see them. They're very close to being butchered. They're about a week out. We'll probably be butchering some of those big ones, and I'm sure there'll be a video on that. But just a few weeks ago, it's been what, 2-3 weeks ago?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago. So
you know, it was the 1st of March, right at the beginning of March. Man, we had that Arctic blast that came through, where it was in the 20s. It even got down to teens, I think, one night. And before that came through, it rained 4 3/4 inches.
actually, that's when we checked it. It ended up being over 5 inches of rain in a 24-hour period.
Right. And we had put up a protective, of course they've shifted this. It was facing this way.
Which this is the north, this is the south, east, and west. So
but they had put some tin up around it, of course, to protect them from the rain coming in. But you know, these meat birds are not very smart, and so they gathered all on the side that was unprotected, And that night, after the rain, the torrential downpour I can't even describe it, stopped raining. The guys come out here, Eric and Jace, and they were sick. There were probably about
30.
We have 14 birds left
Out of 50.
Out of 50,
So what, 36?
that had drowned just like that, and
Jace was beside himself. God bless him. He was so upset. He was angry at himself for not realizing and being prepared.
Well, we kind of felt like we'd put up a barrier around one side and thought maybe they would get out of it, but they didn't.
They were that smart.
And so, of course, a devastating loss, to lose that many birds, because we're trying to raise meat for typically 4 families,
on the hill,
on the hill. And so
Jace took off right away.
Right away, that very night.
Went to the store and bought more.
He went to our local Rural King and he bought 40 more, and he has them up at his place, raising them up. And by the time we butcher these,
which will be soon,
those will be ready to come in. But we learned a valuable lesson there, to always,
and since that, we had another time where we were going to have some, just last week, had some devastating rain that's supposed to be coming through. The weatherman said we were going to get a lot of rain. It's going to be possible severe weather. So we took precautions and we moved all the meat birds up into the barn.
We put them in a wheelbarrow and we loaded them up to where we milked the goats at,
and put them in a little
makeshift
catch pen there for the night. And it was not near as, but you know what? I always say an ounce of prevention is a pound of cure.
Right.
But we took precautions because we were afraid, and they were fine. We didn't even get the rain that they said we were going to get, but we took those precautions, and learned from that. So another hardship, we said, we keep continually talking about prepping and preparing for years to come, for the next year. We're constantly working to provide for all of us on the hill for the next year. And it just seems like, Satan is trying everything he can.
There was a few weeks that was rough there.
It was rough.
We not only, we lost all those chickens, and we'll get into the other stuff that was lost that very same week. And it's just, gosh, Jace wanted to grow discouraged, and we all were a little sick to our stomach, because it is money loss.
Mm-hmm.
It is, but we recovered.
We've learned.
When
the weather comes, prepare more.
Yes,
you
absolutely.
can never prepare enough.
Right. Never, ever.
Never. And
so now we have here, we're going to be butchering about 14 meat birds.
We've got 40 to come in behind them to raise up. So.
Absolutely. So,
but during that same time frame, we had that Arctic freeze that came through. The weather dropped into the 20s that night, and so we had crazily decided to put our squash in the ground that we had seeded in our greenhouse.
Right.
And
we had to show y'all videos of the squash and how good it was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, did we even have a video of we planted it? I think that's one that's going to be shown. And
maybe, yeah, we've got that. But we had our potatoes in the ground, our snap beans were in the ground. They had not broke yet. So we were like, okay, we got to prep the garden now for this winter storm that we were not expecting, of course.
We spent the entire, and I think we'll have a video. I think we have some video of us prepping.
Maybe, yeah.
Our potatoes were just barely coming up, so we tarped them with the black silage tarp that we used.
Our peach trees had blooms all over them, and we put the water sprinkler on those to wet those and freeze them. Maybe that would salvage the blooms on them a little bit.
Right.
Because like Stumpy had said, it's not going to get any colder than 32 degrees when that ice freezes. So that would be an insulation on those fruit trees, which made sense to me. And so where the weather out here dropped to 22, 23 degrees at night and froze everything, those, hopefully, peach trees were salvaged.
We haven't seen any evidence that they're not going to make it. They still look good. We'll go show you those. But
let's go over to the garden and just show them.
We will. Let's head over there.
What we got over there. So we're over in the garden, and we're just going to show you. We had 4 rows of squash we had put in the ground, and the week before this Arctic frost.
zucchini, yellow squash.
Yeah.
There's just some new brands from House Tools that we were trying, and they looked so good. We had used our AgriThrive on them in the greenhouse. The stems look good, and we just grew them from seed in there, and we had worked so hard to get them out here.
We thought that putting solo cups over the top of them
Yeah.
would insulate them from the ice. And
So we'll try to post a picture of that. That was
the next morning we come out and took the cups off. They were frozen, solid, and we were like, oh, well, that didn't work.
Right.
But you could see, Danette, down the row, there's two, looks like two that survived.
Right.
On 4 rows. So,
now we put our green beans. You could just start seeing them sprout. And we put solo cups over those.
actually, we ended up throwing dirt over the green beans.
Yeah. Some of them had solo cups, and some of them
We threw, and they come back. We have one row that's not
Right.
doing very well, but they've all come back, and they're doing great, doing wonderful. So our green beans,
just by throwing dirt over them.
snap beans, they did very good.
That helped. So we learned from that you can, it'll come, it's growing, so it'll come up out of the soil. I don't know what we've done if they'd have been this big when the frost come through, but also we have to remember we can't plant that early, those things.
Yeah, we're learning.
Yeah, we are.
We're learning to watch for the signs in the pecan trees. When the pecan trees start breaking leaves, I don't know if you can see up there or not. When they start breaking, you can see it right there. Yeah. When they start breaking out their leaves, that tells us that that's a sign of spring is coming. So we didn't have anything here.
We didn't. So just the other day, the guys planted some corn. So we got corn that's going to be in this plot here.
Yeah. But our potatoes, we covered them with our tarp that we had.
And the ones that couldn't get covered with tarp, we just covered them with dirt.
Yeah.
Because they weren't very big, but you can see
they survived, and they're coming back. We've plowed them since
these are
then.
Our Yukons and our golden ball, and then down here's our red potatoes.
Our red potatoes. So they've come back and they survived. So they had ice on them.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely have to show you the pictures.
They had ice all over them. Under the tarp, it was frozen solid, and there's ice on them. But I think they did very well. We'll see when we pull the potato in weeks to come.
Right.
If the potato actually is what hurt, it took the damage. But we have these little fruit trees here that
plum trees here.
that
we wrapped them in sheets.
We put sheets over those.
And I think that they're going to be fine. I don't see any frost in them here. Here's the peach trees. That's a plum tree.
Yeah.
But as you can see, there's some blooms. These look a little rough, but hopefully.
Now this tree had not budded out much at all,
Right.
and the leaves are coming out on it. So maybe that was it saving grace.
Yeah.
But this one was slam full of blooms on it,
And they look pretty good.
They look okay. So not as perky and pink as they should, and the green's starting to come out on it a little bit. So maybe so. The only casualty we had was we did lose a branch.
Is that from the? I never.
That's
noticed
from the
that.
ice. Yeah. Down here on this tree, we lost a branch. You can see.
Now, I wonder if you could, with branches like that, I've seen people, if you could have taken it and put it back up there and wrapped it.
I don't know. It's still green, so that's the thing. So it still has some life in it. So.
I wonder, anybody tell us about that? If we took it, and wrapped plant tape around it, would it graft back to the tree?
I don't know.
And make fruit for us? Because it hasn't died yet.
It's not dead. It's still
And
alive.
it's been 2 or 3 weeks since.
Let's see.
We might have to just do a little test, sister, and see.
Yeah.
And wrap it up like that and see if it'll live.
Let's see if it'll graft itself back up. I don't know.
I've got some Coban in there.
Yeah.
We could go get it and wrap it and see.
Yeah, we might try that and see if we can salvage the branch because it's still got green on it.
They haven't died yet.
And they haven't died yet. So maybe there's enough graft. Hey, I'll hold it here. Okay. If you'll just go ahead.
I get it.
And this thing's heavier than I thought. So, but our blackberries vines have done well. They're budding out now. And they're looking good. And so looks like our fig trees are survived. Our carrots, of course, do well in wet and cold weather. Our strawberries, we put hay actually over our strawberries, and they've survived that, and they've already started budding out with a little bitty green strawberries on them. So those things have survived. So very happy with that. So actually, we'll see if we could salvage this tree. If we wrap this up, if it will graft back into the tree or not, since it's still green. We'll see. Here comes Sister running. So a little experiment we'll keep you updated on. We'll do that.
Don't laugh at us.
Don't laugh at us. Yeah, I know. We've never claimed to be proclaimed experts. We just, like we've said before, we're not afraid to try anything. So if this saves the tree, you know, I am going to take this branch off right here. Which I don't know. I'm going to fold it down. And maybe you are going to have to need way more than that.
I've got that in the pocket.
Is that all that's on that one?
I'll tell you what you can do.
Well, we may need rope instead. Good old medical Coban. We'll try it and see. It doesn't hurt. Just like I tried last week to use the poultry netting to fence in my goats to eat some grass. Learned quickly that it was not strong enough to hold them. So I'm gonna go up right there. Your husband may laugh at us. You know, my husband may laugh at us. Probably need to go up higher,
Well,
like here.
if the tree is still alive, you know, maybe we can save it.
You know, so I would take that other one and go, we're gonna have to go up higher. We'll just fall down. We actually probably need to
I'm
have
gonna
a rope up there.
I'll tear it and go up. You know why?
Because if I let go, it's gonna fold right down. So, but we may have some rope somewhere.
We may be onto something. A new invention. Copyright, right?
You're gonna have to go way higher. This is not long enough.
Yeah.
This is not long enough.
What'd you say?
Yeah.
Go over and see what happens.
Let's go tear it. Let's see. Well, it's holding it for now, but I think we'll get some rope. We'll go get some rope and tie just a little bit of rope right here.
Yep.
And we'll see how it holds.
Yes, we will.
But it's still green. It's all still green, and there's some blooms still on it. So we'll see what happens.